Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. A warm round of applause for Mr. Devesh, the Secretary in Agriculture. He has taken his time out from the very busy schedule. And we all understand that, budget is in final spaces and secretaries are occupied with the last final details. Sir, thank you very much. Sir, since we wanted to hear a lot of things from you, and you wanted to take a keynote stance, so you can take the mic and give us a lowdown that how your ministry is taking the GI story forward.
Hello, yeah. Thank you very much, Nilesh, and welcome to all the participants here. And it's very heartening to know that the DPIIT with India Today is organizing this very important discussion. And as far as GI is concerned, there is no point discussing the importance of GI because there was a session before. Amitabh Kanji discussed it, must have given more insights about it. And but my focus would be more on why GI is important in agriculture sector.
Absolutely.
And why, both ways, in increasing farmers' income and also ensuring that the uniqueness of a product. So when I talk of agriculture sector, I will just not talk of the raw produce, but I would also like to highlight the importance of the processed food. So when I talk of raw produce, we know one of the first fights which we had on this issue was when there was a move to take Basmati out of the India's own heritage, and there was a move to patent it in a different name in different country. And then ICR had to move to fight that case in WTO and win it. That's why we are able to export Basmati as Basmati today. So that is one of the first instances where the globalization led to a situation in which our own original produce, which was unique to this country, which was something on which we could consider India as a food basket for the world, was being jeopardized. Two more instances I will give. One was regarding haldi, again, a product which is a household product for improving our immunity and all those things. We know what is the advantage of haldi. And there was the very fact that global companies did spend millions on the research on haldi, and they went for some sort of patenting of that product itself showed that why it is so important. So we don't have to prove that haldi is not good because there were companies doing so much of research. Then we had to fight to ensure that this doesn't happen. And third was tulsi or the basil, again the same thing, same story. So the issue is that India is a vast country. And I got this list with the help of Dr. Rajnikant, who is sitting here, who has got Padma Shri only because of the fact that he did a lot of contribution in helping farmers get all these products GI certified. So the whole idea is that there are 242 products at present which are GI tagged in agriculture sector. And when I'm talking of agriculture sector, it is produce as well as the final produce. But still there are a huge number of products which are not. Maybe they are in pipeline, but there could be one who have not yet been considered worthy of it. But our first, as a policy maker, our first intention is to identify such products across the country. So when I was working in UP. So what we did was we asked the district collectors, asked even the other who are stakeholders that first identify such produces, which could be GI certified. So we know that Mathura ka peda is something a known thing. It is a GI, it's a produce, but ultimately at the back end there is a milk production and there is khoya production which goes on. We know that Khurja ki khurchan is an important produce which is only unique to that place. We know that there is a small place in Fatehpur called Malwa. It's just a tehsil, not even tehsil headquarter. And we have a Malwa ka peda which is famous in that area. So we have, each district, I am talking of example of Uttar Pradesh. We have so wide variations across the country, the northeast,
Secretary
south.
Sahab,
So all these issues. So first, as a policy maker, the first is to ensure that we identify such products and then move towards GI certification.
So basically, you are doing the reverse engineering, that products which are popular and the
Yes.
ministry is helping them
Because
out.
ultimately, we have to ensure that that product doesn't dilute its significance because of the fact that some other person takes away the uniqueness and goes away. So that is the first thing. Then the second aspect is how to ensure that the GI certification takes place. And who does it? So our policy is that to ensure that we should not make it a monopoly of a single person.
So when we talk about, the agriculture side, if we see in last 70 years, India faced two big, events. One was partition of the country, and second was the reorganization of states. And there are many agriculture produces which were traditionally grown, areas which were spanning, these boundaries. Basmati you refer to. Basmati is also grown on the other side of the fence. Plus now Madhya Pradesh is also growing Basmati, and it doesn't fall in the Indo-Gangetic basins. So how do you tackle, these issues? Because I'm sure Pakistan is also trying to secure GI as well as patents for their innovation. And there was, conflict recently about 1121 variety. That was all patent, but GI also, there are variants. Secondly, there are many variants which are Pakistani origin, but are grown by the farmers in India. So how do you deal with, those complex issues? Alfonso mango is another one, because for donkey years we are hearing Alfonso, and that is grown in the Konkan as well as Gujarat, Maharashtra, those regions. So how do you differentiate? How you go deeper? How you help
So
farmers?
that's the whole idea. The whole idea of having a GI tag is that so that's where the policy comes in. So first thing is who is the applicant? So applicant, for example, I give an illustration. Malihabadi mango is a GI. That doesn't mean that only Malihabad is the area. The area has number of districts. But the name Malihabadi at the Dasheri is known. So we have an area which is bigger than Malihabad, but still it is GI. But the applicant for that is National Horticulture Board, which is sitting in Gurgaon. Now, if applicant sits in Gurgaon, now how will the farmers become authorized users? Because ultimately the advantage of GI is that the producer has to get a certificate from the registry that I am an authorized user. And that has to be verified by the applicant who has applied and got the GI tag. So next, when we started discussing in UP कि भाई कितने farmers हैं दशहरी आम लगाने वाले जिनके पास authorized user certificate है, the answer was 0. Then we discussed why it is so. The answer was कि कौन जाए गुड़गांव में ही कराने. Then we discussed with the government of India and we said कि let the NHB office look of the we asked them to decentralize it. So the NHB office of Lucknow became the decentralized authorization of application, forwarding the application. And then a lot of, so the next issue is that once a GI has been done, we have 242 products. Obviously, we have to ensure that farmers get that authorization certificate. It's a simple 10 rupee fees. But the process is such where we need some assistance from the government side, the administrative side. So first is, for the new GI product, what we have to ensure that the geography is such that it is not very restrictive, and also it doesn't dilute the impact of its uniqueness. So that decision has to be made, obviously, where the policy maker has to step in. Because the person who's applying would like to be as unique as possible so that the person gets the hegemony over it. But we have to ensure that those who are producing it in a bigger area. For example, recently, we know that Pratapgarh district of UP is famous for Amla. But that doesn't mean that GI of Amla will only have Pratapgarh district. It went as far as Varanasi. So there were many districts who were covered under this. So the policy has to come in deciding who will be the applicant. So what we prefer is it could be an FPO who has a large farmer base. It could be our district Atma Society of district under the district magistrate. It could be the Mandi Samiti. So there could be various options, but it should be broad-based. And then area should be defined which ensures the balance between uniqueness and coverage.
So, how do you resolve this Basmati issue? When Madhya Pradesh is saying that I want to call it Basmati, but technically GI doesn't apply to.
So I would say the point is these issues have to be resolved in a legal way, and because ultimately the registry is functioning independently. Obviously, it's easier to move from the periphery, we can move forward. But suddenly something comes from other side, we have to go into details, whether it was originally being grown or it has just been taken away from here. So those are the decisions which the registry will decide. There would be movement. But what I'm saying is that rather than going to the controversial issues, we will discuss how we ensure that more and more products become GI. So that one is an application, other one is the facilitators. And then the facilitator, there has to be a technical facilitator who research and provides, because ultimately when you go to the GI registry, there is a lot of questions asked. I mean, why should be a GI? What is the heritage part of it? How many years it is growing? That, of course, the officers of the district administration will not be able to, they can provide documents, but someone will have to fight there. So there are experts who are technically facilitating. We have to fund those experts so that GI becomes a reality finally. It takes a process. So once this happens and we get a certificate, then we move for authorized user. Then we move for training of those authorized user to ensure, as it was been discussed in last point, key, ensure the quality. It should not happen that quality more pesticides are being used. So, and then we move ahead for its global branding, ensuring that, and then the producer gets the authorized certificate. And then they move ahead for getting a uniqueness, which gives them a product segmentation, which increases their prices, increases their marketing. So that's the whole policy on which we are working.
Have you ever calculated that, if farmer allows, farmers experience the GI, how much increase in the income they can avail, how many more export orders they can get?
See, I can give you only example where I've seen, because of course I don't think there has been any specific study. There should be a study. But I can tell you that when Kala Namak rice became a GI, from northeastern part of Uttar Pradesh. And now it is being projected as Prasad of Bhagwan Buddha. And it is going into Southeast Asia. It is going into all the Buddhist countries. The same rice which would have been basically being sold at 30-40 rupees a kg. Now it is as high as 200 rupees a kg, 300 rupees a kg, having the same aroma. So that is what GI has changed. Now, what else has changed? As soon as there was a ban on rice, non-basmati rice, we took it because there was a GI of this Kala Namak. So we took it with Ministry of Commerce that you have done a non-basmati rice ban, but this is non-basmati, but it is not common rice. It is export-oriented. Yeah. So farmers are suffering. So immediately there was a move to have a separate category for this and release exports, remove the export ban for Kala Namak. And now we are working for having a separate HS code for non-basmati aromatic rice. So that is, so what will happen is even if there is a ban because of domestic reason to save the consumer, we will have a separate category for such GI products. So that is the second advantage. Third advantage, even the institute, we have this Institute of Rice Research Institute, Santiar in Varanasi. We have the ICAR. They have developed varieties of which is maintaining the aroma. And they have been able to bring all the negative aspects of that because it was a tall variety. So because of the rains and storms, it used to fall down and cause a lot of losses. So a stunted variety with same level of aroma, maintaining its original, has been released. So all these issues start happening once you have a GI product, it is recognized. And that's why, having a GI becomes a first step in recognizing a product and then moving for its quality improvement, ensuring that there is a market outside. And now this, we have beautiful, and in fact, when this WTO, this G20 happened, we in UP, whenever this event happened, we had given that Kala Namak rice to all the delegates along with millets. So you can understand, with one example, how things change for a particular area, which ultimately benefits the farmers.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely, sir. Actually, we are running short of time.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate that you could take your time out and join us in this, telling the wonderful story of GI to this large audience. So my request to all of you is to give warm round of applause to the secretary.
So my last issue is for us all sitting here. If you have any product which can be GI in agriculture or agro-processing, please send it to us. We will move ahead. And there are hundreds across the country. We have only a list of 242 at present, but there are hundreds.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chaturvedi.